Welcome back to the energy tips for the week 16, the 13th till 19th of April 2020. Welcome everybody. I just got off this very energetic truth talk about generations and how I think that we are in need of stepping up to empower and encourage our younger generations here to live through this corona uncertainty, this corona nightmare. But there is more to this than just how we are dealing with it in the now and what this is doing to us right now. There is an aftermath, and this is the part that I covered there, namely, what happens really when we get through this, maybe in the next 12 months, all right? Where are we going to be standing there, and what will the tasks be, and how do we come in as the older generation? In this next week here, which is kind of like a critical week, to be honest with you, we'll have somewhat of a reality shock, okay? Somewhat of a reality inventory, okay? So we're in the middle of integrating and adapting a lot of things, and we don't yet have enough data. So the governments are pushing to reopening things, and they want businesses to go online, and every country sort of has their own way of doing this. It's very interesting. It's like a huge global social experiment. There's a lot of data collecting going on right now, and this is kind of needed because it's unprecedented, right? So what we are actually seeing here is that there is no plan, okay? Nobody has a plan. It's like chaos according to plan. That's really all that is. So this nightmare that we are experiencing right now really, guys, isn't something to worry about. It is just something to sit there and be very present in and allow, your own cycles of ego, survival, and coping to go through you, and realize that there is a new normal now, okay? And the one thing that is coming in next week that will make this a little cringy, all right? Not that this hasn't been cringy all along already, but is that we will get tired of all of this. We will long for like sort of comfort again. We want to go back into our comfort zone, and the problem with that is that our ego adapts to things in a way that can often lead to problems. Namely, it finds familiarity in even the most dysfunctional or toxic conditions, all right? This is a psychological function to help us to survive, but it can also, pull us into a reality that is even farther away from truth, okay? It can make things normal for us that shouldn't be normal. And so the task really is to consciously work on a new reference system, because for this new reality, this new normal here, we need to be more aware, we need to be more conscious, not just with our children, but also with, the overall sort of ways of how we've been seeing and approaching things, and especially how we've been seeing ourselves. And since most of you are from the Generation X and maybe the older millennials, I want to send out a huge sort of spark of hope to you, okay? If you have been thinking about, or if you have been feeling a little bit if you have been feeling a little bit guilty, or sort of seek the blame in yourself for how messed up some of the things that are coming to the surface here are, and you go into this lower vibratory state with this and this kind of despair, then really watch this, because there is a lot of reasons to be optimistic. There's a lot of reasons to look into the future. We just have to look at it with truth, all right? And so when it comes to, for instance, to the question, should we even have children, all right? There's some of you who are about to become new parents, or who are thinking about becoming a parent. Yes, there is. And why? Because We can make this part of our purpose here. We can shift our focus from the self-centeredness to becoming more aware of what the future will bring and teach our children true connectedness. So my appeal to you here is really take this seriously, because our children and grandchildren, they're going to be the ones that have to be the future leaders in all of this. All right. So, as I've pointed out in the truth talk here called Generations, it's really important that we empower them with that it's okay to explore and experiment and to make mistakes, because this is our weak spot. This is our trauma. Okay. We were chastised. We were blamed. We were punished, for trying to do things differently and then end up sort of giving in. And this is a really bad message for our children, okay? Because they are willing to look at the future with more freedom, more autonomy, more self-sustaining, with higher levels of safety and higher levels of unity, of sort of planetary unity. They're willing to look at things like this. So what we need to really focus on here for ourselves is to develop a better functioning reference system for truth and for true connectedness, guys. The adjustment and the integration can only happen through testing, and this has never been any different. Nature does it. All right, there's a new situation, a new condition, and nature finds a way. And this is our sort of task here through this nightmare, okay, to remember this and to go deep within and to go into this true heart connection within ourselves. So why this is challenging next week is because of the energetic, the collective stuff that is floating around, as you probably are very much aware of. But it's coming in here very, very strongly, and I know many of you have already been feeling this, is a first chakra component that this time around shifts more into the karmic aspect of things. I don't know if you remember this, but in the beginning of January, I talked about this reckoning, this feeling that we're being presented with all our transgressions of the past, and this is coming out very much so here in this next week. So many of you are feeling things such as karmic relationship ties popping back up, and maybe guilt and the need to make amends. All right, this is part of this first chakra component. It's even lower than just a physical survival. All right, so there's a strong sort of etheric, if you will, component to this that I'll cover here in the energy tips for each layer again, because it has a few effects on us. The other aspect is a very strong second chakra. That's our emotional processing. And sixth chakra, that's how we see things, our ability to see truth. And I've talked about this last week, all right? This has to do with, not what is actually going on, but with how we are contextualizing this. And here we have to be very, very careful to not fall for this ego function to cope with toxicity and dysfunctionality through accepting it as norm, okay? It still is not normal, and it is not healthy what is going on, all right? But we have very limited ways of influencing the bigger picture. We can only focus on our personal smaller picture, on what we can control. The part here that I'm most worried about is a huge sort of transparency, I want to call this. This is what it looks like, to the cosmic energies that are coming in right now. So there's most people running around right now have too upward oriented, too open crown chakras, your seventh chakra, and kind of looking for solutions upwardly, like higher power and so forth. I don't want to go into conspiracy theories and spiritual stuff here. At this very moment, the way this translates for me is that this makes you very susceptible to etheric impulses, energies, and entities that are coming in that you are, if you don't know much about energies, and if you don't know yourself, your own energy well enough, and don't know how to protect yourself from this, can pull you literally into nightmares. So there is a new word here that's called corona nightmares, where people are reporting about extreme lucid, extreme intense, and extreme sort of precognitive visioning and dreaming right now. And I want to point this out to all of you, that most of that is etheric abuse, okay? Most of that is, entities messing with you and energies messing with you, okay? So I'm glad that we have the How to Protect Your Energy intensive this upcoming weekend, because there I'm teaching you step by step through this meta learning how I do this combination of energy transmission remotely from home, and then the reporting, discussing, and contextualizing it for you. So that would be an opportunity for you to learn this and to build a better vocabulary for this. This is my concern here for this next week. Okay, so strong outer energies interfering. Now, collectively, we all know that this integration and implementation of new things is more or less a trial and error. And, with all this, like, we're getting tired of this, and the economy is suffering too much from it. We need to go back to the old ways. There will be new, shocking things that will come to our awareness. And it's very important that we don't take any of this personal. All right. I'm also seeing, like nature energies, such Gaia energies, such as earthquakes and storms, adding to the hodgepodge of stuff that is already going on. So we will really need to stay in our center here and connected with ourselves to feel when it's the right time to take our power back. Okay, so we need to understand that this is a continual adjustment process, all right? And you have to go into a more mature, more healed stance with this, accepting that evolution is not an event, that it's a process. Physically, the way this sort of energy center combobulation is affecting us is that I'm seeing people with a lot of stomach issues right now, lower belly, second chakra, bloated belly, issues with digestion. And unfortunately, because our gut health is linked to our energetic or our physical immune system, this also means that you're going to have to pay extra attention to what you're eating and what you are ingesting here right now, also in form of emotions from, outer energies, because it will really add to the wearing out effect. You already being worn out by all this outer drama that is going on. So stay away from news, guys. Stop watching the death toll. All right. I can tell you a prediction here by 2021, the end of 2021, 70 to 90% of us will have been infected by the coronavirus. This is nothing to resist here. This is more something that should remind us on, like, okay, if that is the case, how do I want to go through this? All right, how prepared do I want to be? How strong or how much can I strengthen my own immune system? You're going to feel things in your throat here on an energetic level, and don't buy into people telling you this is your thyroid. Okay, right now this is your thymus. This is your ability to really express things. All right, and if you feel a lack of life force, if you feel a lack of being able to express things, then just tap your thymus slightly and take a deep breath, because the fourth chakra attack, our lungs, the breath of life, that's still going on. That's not going to stop until the end of the year, guys. So, trying to fix something with, like, say, medication, and please, get advice from your medical professional, but is not really the answer. This is just like with taking Tylenol to reduce your fever when you get sick. There's a reason why your body goes into fever, okay? Because it helps us to fight off viruses. Okay, so the same with the imbalances that are coming forward right now. Taking medication will actually lower your energy and will make it even harder for you to balance this out. So look at your health more from a holistic point of view, where it's about balance and wholeness. All right, and adjust through, be more flexible. A lot of you guys are now going to feel lower back issues and issues with your shoulders and neck because you're not getting enough movement. A lot of you are, on top of the nightmares, also dealing with, really difficulties to keep your sleep cycles as they used to be. And sleep deprivation, again, here lowers your physical immune system, but also your etheric immune system, okay? And it slows down your digestion, and it does a lot of things. So sleep, deep breathing, lots and lots of water, drinking lots and lots of water, lots of sun, working with plants, eating plants, working with herbs. Thank you, Margot, for this wonderful excursus into how to tune into the healing spirit of a plant. Supplements primarily derived from whole foods, like dried vegetable, fruit, essences, powders, concentrates such as JuicePlus. I've recommended this many, many times. This is going to be a lifesaver here for, these next years to come. And have a daily routine. Have a good routine. If you have children, I've recommended this a few weeks back. Have a daily schedule that allows them to know what comes next, so that they're not on your nerves the whole entire time. And it allows you also to plan in times, say, where you can meditate. We have our Skype meditation circles every day now. Thank you to all you wonderful trance coaches for offering this for free. This is wonderful. If you have enjoyed these meditation circles, or Amanda's free Skype yoga every morning, then also think about all the work that is involved in this. And if you like one trance coach in particular, then think about donating something to them. Guys, put a PayPal donation link up there, because you're doing a wonderful job here for everybody to allow us to stay connected, not just with another, but also within ourselves. Emotionally, obviously, this is one of the biggest things, to stay connected with your emotions. And as these karmic aspects are coming in right now, it's a lot about integration of old wounds. Okay, and a lot of inner child stuff is coming up, but also these karmic relationships. You need to let go of those. You need to let go of what is toxic. You need to let go of toxic emotions. But here, it's so important, and we learn this from energy work, to recognize that emotions themselves are not good or bad. They are only toxic if they stay unexpressed, in other words, repressed, or if we judge ourselves for having certain emotions, if we censor them, if we put a lid on things. And the number one toxic emotion, guys, is unexpressed anger, blaming, and shaming. Not anger itself, not the sense of sort of guilt or shame, but the unexpressed, censored version of that, because that has a huge effect on your mind, on your ego mind, on this inner negativity, the critical inner voice. And that's what creates the toxicity. So it's not the emotion itself, it is the toxicity that comes in through the interpretation of your ego mind. And therefore, mentally, the biggest task here in this next week is to consciously shift towards feeling into things. Allowing them to be there, to explore your emotions, explore your thoughts, and experiment. Then your critical inner voice cannot get a grip on you. Because, look, all these voices that you hear that you should have, could have, why didn't you? And oh my God, and I'm such a loser, and what am I even here for, and so forth. All that, 93% of that is not even your own thoughts. That's a recording of somebody said something when you were a child, or what you saw on TV or whatnot. All right. Your critical inner voice has no answer for all the problems that are out there right now, because this has never been there in the past. So please, in this last workshop here, the Heart Connection workshop, I called this the grandma voice, all right? Accept that it's there, it's sitting there in the corner of your head, constantly commenting and monitoring sort of what is going on and criticizing you, but it is no tool, it is no instrument that can help you right now. So you can't ignore it because it's part of you, but turn the volume down, just see it as a background noise in the back of your head and focus on right now. How am I truly feeling right now? What do I truly need? What do I truly need to feel safe? How do I want all this? What I want? Okay, these are your core questions here for shifting your mindset and also shifting your energy. Then some of these other problems that you're experiencing socially within your families or within your work, they begin to become a bit more clear for you. You gain more clarity. Many of us parents obviously have an extra workload now through homeschooling. But we also have an opportunity to be there more with our children, to connect more, to do more crafts, to rediscover the power of a family dinner, and to teach our kids cooking. This relationship with foods is a second chakra thing, all right? And even if we're not big cooks or whatever, but we can, teach our children what all these different foods are. And I mean, so many kids don't even recognize vegetables anymore because they've never actually seen their parents working it, not to mention have never even tried them. All right. Or if you don't like the cooking part and still, resort to prepackaged or pre-produced stuff, which by the way is not good for your immune system. Okay. Then at least, put out seeds, put out bulbs, plant things, like show your kids this sort of do-it-yourself power that comes in creating something. And also, just so watching something grow is an extremely healing energy, especially when you feel a little depressed or when you're a little pessimistic. Okay, so see how you can adapt to the situation in the best and most flexible way, integrating some of these things that may have only been in your head intellectually, but now needing to come into implementation, into embodiment. All right. And business-wise, for many of you, this might mean that you are now considering a different kind of career, a different kind of job. And I know that those of us who, myself including, who already work remotely and who already, have a home-based business, for us, all this corona situation is really literally no change. All right, because we have found other ways to connect with people and to offer our services. And this is the time, guys, for you to consider a home-based business. It doesn't necessarily have to be remote energy healing. It can be anything in regards to consulting, anything in regards to what people need in the future. They need more health awareness, guys. Network marketing companies such as the JuicePlus company. I love this company, guys, who offer, not only a wonderful product, okay, with the most research that is out there. Is plant-based food, in a capsule, but also teach you how to do home-based businesses. Everybody can do this. Things like this, we'll see these pop out of the ground like mushrooms now. Okay, so don't be afraid of setting new goals and getting inspired with new visions of how you can make your money. Okay, and allow your children to develop their own visions, because if they're millennials or sort of the older generation Z, they're gonna have some really, really cool ideas that your brain could have never even come up with. Spiritually, this is a part here right during this sort of resurrection time, this Easter time, where it's all about moving back into wholeness. And wholeness in the English language is very close to holiness, all right? So putting things back together that were previously separated or fragmented. And from an energetic point of view, I can totally subscribe to this, because there is something about, letting go of this human eco dualism, all right, that taps us into the divine Wi-Fi, that taps us into a larger spiritual truth. So maybe you were raised with the proverb, cleanliness is next to holiness. All right, this applies right now as well, but I want to say wholeness is closest to holiness. All right, so resurrect yourself, guys. And don't be afraid of taking an inventory here. And maybe as you are taking an inventory of your old ways, don't be afraid of looking at some really old things, because what I am seeing in a lot of you is the rediscovery of ideas that you had like maybe 10 years ago, but where you didn't have the courage or the energy to follow through. Now is the time, guys. This influx here of 6th and 7th chakra also brings a higher spiritual awareness and more trust in your inner higher power. All right, and maybe it means that you are now discovering your true soul purpose in this time. I've seen this with myself, and I see this in a lot of you guys. Don't be afraid of this. Trust it. Okay, and if you have an issue with sort of motivation, if you feel low in energy to motivate yourself, okay, then go back to the physical stuff. Okay, make sure that you have lots of sleep, lots of water, good digestion, good food. All right, and then look again, because the world will look differently. You're going to be in a higher vibratory state if you let go of all this emotional and mental overlay and all this sort of physical contraction. All right, so that's what it means to out-vibrate something. And from an energetic point of view, there is another component, another dimension, and that has to do with masculine and feminine energy, with the balance within yourself. So wholeness comes from, balancing and mending and reuniting everything that is fragmented inside of you. And it's safe to say here from an energetic point of view that the more unified your energy system is, the stronger it is, and the better you'll be able to ward things off, be it outer energies or be it viruses or even, sort of inner lows, your dark night of the soul. You'll be able to feel more competent, and this has a lot to do with your inner masculine and feminine balance. All right, so that's something I want to point you guys at. There's lots of videos here that I've posted about all these topics and subjects. If you're part of the Sacred Self-Healing Program, then look in the forum archive. And if you're not yet part of the Sacred Self-Healing Program, then consider this. This is $39 a month that gives you access to not only trainings, webinars, lots of discounts, access to all these things that we do here like a gym, but also the community that goes with this, all right? The big issues here, as I've mentioned before, is etheric protection here in this next week and ongoing. So I want you to keep an eye on what you project out here into the collective, and understand that the more undifferentiated and the more untrue it is what you project out, the more you absorb of that as well. So there is a two-way link here that I often mention. Okay, so you're not the victim of nothing, guys. Okay, that's like old paradigm thinking. Okay, that's powerless thinking. Okay, that is gone. All right, you are an active participant in your journey now, in case you haven't noticed this, because this is a time now where we have to wake up. That's why we've been talking about awakening for so long, because you're gonna be awoken. And there's many different ways of how this can go for you. If you choose it, if you consciously choose it, it's easy. If you resist it, your reality that you manifest will become resistive, hard, with lots of drama. Okay, so what we need here from an energetic point of view is a new reference system for connectedness, for true inner connection, because that's where you get the info from. That's where you get the intel from your own true self. All right. And I know that many of you have had input in regards to masculine, feminine, and, etheric protection and so forth. Follow up on this. Guys, if you don't have much money, if $39 a month is not, something you can afford, go to the 21 days Empath energy awareness training here on YouTube. It's free, guys. All right, and really, use this as an invitation to go deeper with yourself and to become a more active participant in your life. So I hope that you will be able to tune into more optimism next week, and that the energy tips help you with this. All right, and I'm looking forward to next week, because there's a big shift coming. So I'm actually very curious, and this is part of the attitude that I'm promoting here. Stay open, experiment, explore, and go into this wondrous child that doesn't have any preoccupied opinion about good or bad, that just asks itself, I wonder how this is all gonna work out for us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting transCODES. See you next week. Bye-bye.